What up, everybody? Back with my buddy Joe Ryan. What up, Joe?
Joe Ryan, how are you?
How's it going, man?
Good.
We have been doing this little video series. Hopefully you guys are digging it. We're talking about the role of community and anxiety and trauma recovery and support. And today we're going to talk about the idea that if you want, this is kind of a bold statement, but I put it on the screen, so I'll own that statement. If you want total support, like all the support, you kind of need some community. You need it. Right. So how many books? Let's talk about that. How many books did you read, dude? How many audiobooks did you listen to?
I could have had a lot nicer apartment if I didn't spend all the money on those books. Tons of physical books, audio books, e-books, lectures, seminars, different modalities of therapy and recovery. I thought that I would get a book and I would pick it up and I'm rifling through it and I'm 3/4 of the way through and I'm like, I don't feel any better. I understand all of this intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's like emotionally. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling this. I have my own interpretation. It can only take you so far. Alone, reading somebody else's thoughts, you have the power to recover within you, but you do need a community around you.
I would agree with that 100%. You can listen to all the podcasts. You could read every book I ever wrote about anxiety. And just as a clarification, I'm usually addressing the anxiety side of this. Joe's usually addressing the trauma side of it. You can read every word I ever write, Claire Weeks, all the people, we all know about them. You can listen to all the podcasts, but in the end, that's not all the support. That's support. Don't get me wrong. It helps. But until you can have discussion about it, talk about it, share about it, like put your experiences on the table and take someone else's experiences off the table and incorporate them, you don't get the full breadth of the support that you really want. I think most of us want. We want the whole package. We just can't get it from books alone and podcasts and videos. We have to make connections.
Think about your thought process. It's like an endless loop, right? Like writing, journaling, recording kind of gets it out of you, out of that loop in your head. But not having feedback, not having somebody say, wow, that's really valuable to me. Or did you ever think of looking at it this way? Just somebody to bounce things off at and reflect back and hear their experiences and what they did to heal. There's no one way for anybody. So the more people you can put around you in a community and hear 75 different ways that somebody tried to work through, you can find the ones that work best for you.
Yeah. Or that thing where you are reading the same words that someone else is. You know, I'm not trying to tell anybody to buy my books, but like in my Facebook group where my books are pretty much the reason for them, because people are all reading the same book. And those discussions are my favorite part. Like, oh, what about when he said this? You know, I don't understand that. And someone else will jump in and say, oh, I was confused by that too. But what I noticed was, and it starts a discussion and all of a sudden light bulbs go on, and that's great. You can't have that alone.
No, there's a lot of connecting the dots, sharing ideas, what people experienced when they take a passage from a book and try to apply it in their life where, they might have hit a brick wall or they had a breakthrough. Sharing that with others is just invaluable. That whole isolation thing, you're not getting any new information. I have ruined my life in so many ways because I didn't have the ability to hear somebody else's opinion because I was always afraid of being wrong or looked at in a negative way. When you can have the courage to show yourself and be seen and express yourself and have people support you in that, that is just uplifting. That is giving you confidence that you might not have been able to give yourself.
Yeah. And I think sometimes giving yourself grace that you don't give yourself. When you you can read and listen and do all the things, and there's some great material like that, but
yeah,
trying to apply what you've read that he wrote and you're doing it alone, you don't know. And then you start to feel like this isn't working. It's not going to work for me. I'm broken. I can't get it right. I'm not doing it right. So helpful to have somebody say, oh, I was confused by that too. And I tried this. And then you realize they also didn't get it. They had to try it a couple of times. Oh, I'm not broken. I can fix it. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. So valuable, those discussions.
And some of the best healers and authors and speakers all say the same thing. I shouldn't be telling you this because I make a living on selling books and speaking, But if you are just reading and listening to me, you're not going to heal.
Right.
You have to get out and show yourself. You have to be a part of something bigger than you. There's an energy, there's a connectedness. The isolation is so lonely and so painful and so shameful that once you start connecting someplace, it is so important to find confidence in one place in this world and then build on it. What better place than people who struggle with what you struggle with,
Right.
supporting each other, and then you can start talking confidently about it and understanding yourself better and helping other humans. It just builds you up from the inside out, and that will take you out to other areas in the world. If you can get comfortable in a community where you feel safe, you build up the confidence and competency within yourself to start moving out into other places in the world.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that's a missing piece for a lot of people. I know you're trying to do it alone, and it's scary. The next little one of these video series we're going to do is about how it's hard. It's hard to come out of hiding. It's hard to show yourself. It's hard to join a community, but you really don't get the full breadth of support that you need. I don't mean to imply that a community will fix you, right? It's not necessarily that a room full of people who've experienced trauma or anxiety are going to fix you, are going to be your therapist. But without that support, that community, even therapy on its own is difficult. That's why we have people like peer support specialists.
I don't think that there is one path out for anybody. It is a little bit from a lot of different places. Having one-on-one coaching or therapy, being part of a support group, whether it's online and in person, reading the books, listening to the podcasts, meditating, taking care of yourself. It's all encompassing. There's not one path to where you want to be. It's little pieces from here and there, and they start to add up. The problem is I want to be fixed like 8 years ago. So I find this one thing that clicks and I run as fast as I can to it. And I get to the end and I'm like, it didn't fix me. Why?
Yeah.
Because I was alone reading and listening and journaling, and I wasn't getting out and living.
Yeah. So it's, talking about the role of community for the full breadth of support. One of the reasons why we're doing this little series is, number one, because we think it's an important discussion that I don't hear a lot, this particular topic. So we decided we should talk about this. And if you look at the URL on the screen right below me, you'll find information on a live event that we're doing in New York City on November 5th. I keep forgetting 5th.
Yeah, November 5th at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m. in New York City. If you're local, this is what we're trying to do, like just to get people together to talk more than anything else. This is not, come and be healed magic. It is start to come out of hiding and access that community that can give you that sort of support. You're not alone.
And the feeling that you get after you walk through those fears that have been built up and you conquer it for that moment, you walk out feeling 10 times better than you ever thought you could, because it's a huge accomplishment. Yeah. And in the end, I look back to the fears that I walked through, and now I look back and go, I was just afraid. But at that moment, it feels like you have a gun to your head when you really don't.
Yeah.
It is such a great feeling every time you can walk through fear. And if you can go to a place where people are sharing the same fears, it just makes it easier.
I would agree. So check out the URL below that will lead you to the Eventbrite page for that particular event. And we would hope to see you guys there. Next time, we're going to talk about the fact that coming out of hiding and into community is important, but it's really hard. So we'll spend a few minutes talking about the fact that it is really hard and why. So see you in the next one.
All righty.
Thanks, dude.
You got it.